welcome to Walker Tea Review, the place where new tea drinkers and experienced tea drinkers, those who want to take the next step, come to find out more information, about tea, to have a taste experience together, and to shop for teas, because I have worked with some major tea retailers, brought some of the best teas that I've tasted this year together into one package. You can find out more about that. Right up above there is a link for Reserve Tea Package, and so check that out. You can also find the information through a monthly newsletter that I send out, and it's quick and dirty. It tells you the best teas that have been tasted each month, so that you can go back and explore those without having to dig and look through all the reviews if you'd rather not. Of course, there's also great articles that I put on, and guest tastings, I should say, and/or guest tastings. So check those out. Don't miss out on those. We're going to be looking at a green tea today, a Dragonwell. There's so many Dragonwells. People think, oh, Dragonwell has been covered, but there are so many grades. There are different times of year when Dragonwells are harvested, or I should say, different dates. It's usually generally the same season, but a few days can really make a difference. I'm pinching out what is going to be about a full teaspoon, maybe a slightly heaping, rounded teaspoon there, and it's really covered the bottom of my 4-ounce gaiwan. So if I could pour it out and show you, just to let you know. In the base here, that's a dry, clean base, so I'm able to just pour out and show you that's what's left. So there we go. One little leaf kind of stuck, so there it is. You want to make sure that you are aware of where your tea is coming from. Of course, China, in the case of Dragonwell. But what part of China? If you have there are Dragonwell styles. You may not say it's a true Dragonwell, but there are Dragonwell types coming out of places like Sichuan province. They have their positives, their pros, but they're just not true. I would not say true Dragonwells, because they are not from that origin, which is the West Lake outside of Hangzhou, famous city where Marco Polo traveled. Remarked it was one of the most amazing, not the most impressive city of his time. So we poured that water in. We're going to let it sit and steep for a few minutes. Notice there's some water along the rim here. Let me get this out of the way. That creates a seal. Kind of locks in the heat, keeps any air from oxidizing, changing the color of the liquor. So that's good. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this tea. This is from GrandTea. This is their Shifeng, which is Lion Peak, the Supreme Dragonwell. Let's see, this is from the Ming Qian period, or pre-Qingming, Qingming being a festival on April 5th. So this was harvested before April 5th, 2010. We know this was it's described as actually from the Shifeng mountain or hill area. What else do we need to talk about? Something else I was going to ask about this tea. Oh, well, it slipped my mind right now, but I'll try to bring it up later if it comes to mind. 25 grams available for $8.80. Okay. I do not recall, that's what I remember. Talking about different kinds of teas, there are different grades. You want to check on on GrandTea's website to determine what kind of grade this tea is. Grades, there's A+, there's A++, there's superior, there's all kinds of ways. Grades have some value, some meaning, but I wouldn't hang my hat on them totally. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of, as far as the smell and looking at this tea a little more closely, I'm getting a little bit of a kind of a light cashew type of smell coming off, roasted cashew. There's a little bit of a cardboard box kind of smell, like a clean, brand new, brown cardboard box. Not off-putting, just not the sweetest either. Let's go ahead and look at some of the dry leaf here. Peel out a pinch here and just kind of rest it in my hand. These are actually, they've been pressed flat, which is usual. There are a lighter, paler color, which was what you expect. A pre-Qingming harvest is characterized as one of the more exquisite types of Longjing because it is more delicate. It has more, in that sense, it's supposed to have more nuance. These are flat. These are what you'll sometimes, some descriptors will say this is like a sparrow tongue, slightly, I would say, not, because you do have a kind of leaf that, as in with this one, you've got a leaf that branches out this way, you've got another leaf that's just a remainder leaf actually, at the front branching out this way, and a main middle piece in the middle looking like a bird's tongue. So you've got the two sides of the beak, plus the tongue in the middle, meaning these are very short, compact, or a short, compact distance between the bud, the needle, and the newest two leaves. So nice color here, as we said. A little bit of down, you'll see little kind of clumps here and there, but yes, so far does look like, does smell like a pre-Qingming type of harvest, and it does look like it's of a decent quality, a good quality even, if I dare say so. Let's go ahead then and give this a taste, and to do that, of course, we're going to pour it first. With a Gaiwans are great as far as getting a standardized experience. Nothing else. Heat becomes more regulated. Tasting becomes, and smelling becomes more standardized. So I put my middle finger and thumb over to the side, got myself a nice wide opening distance by leaning my lid over to the side a little bit, and we pour quickly. A few leaves got through, that's fine. The pitcher itself is actually going to catch those, and the pitcher is great especially if you're going to be serving more than one cup, because the liquor at the top of the Gaiwan versus the bottom will have different levels of intensity, of density, of actually darkness of color as well. So before we get into the liquor, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this wet leaf. Now, what was lacking in the dry leaf smell is coming out nicely in the wet leaf smell. This is lightly toasted rice. It is quite pleasant, and it's a sweet, a slight, like I said, a light rice sweetness, as if you got a good, fresh, homegrown type of rice. Nice smell coming off there. Now, looking at these, let me put that one back. Looking at these wet leaves for a moment. Again, just as we thought, I had said before, sets, nice leaf needle here in the middle, and you can actually kind of run your finger, you can actually see some of the fuzz, the hairs growing on there. So it's another indication of how delicate, new these leaves are. You're getting sets here. You can tell, although something happened either in the plucking or the processing, you had a leaf, and the tip got a little brown, maybe from the heat of the pan searing. This tip also, another leaf coming off there. Several leaves actually could be gently coaxed apart from this main needle in the middle. Nice shape there. Pale colors coming out now. Light, a little slightly lighter, but again, these look delicate. They are delicate. They got a nice color, and they've got a nice shape about them. So that's good. Moving on to our liquor. We have let's see. Actually, I'm talking about color here. This one is a little bit darker than in comparison with some of the other Qingmings that I've tasted. Slightly darker in this liquor color, but we'll see how what kind of factor that makes. Slightly sweet, a little bit of a light, again, a little bit of that ricey type note coming out, sweet, ricey, fragrant rice. A little bit of a light hint of a green bean coming out. this should be good. One delicate solitary leaf fell into my cup. Kind of add to the poetic, the atmosphere, the appeal. Smooth. It's nice, gentle, silken texture. Not overly astringent. I mean, you get a light amount of astringency on the tip of the tongue, but it's a very gentle, kind of soothing type of feel to it. It actually awakens the tongue. And with that, you get that sweetness, like of a freshly steamed rice. Again, that's a key component. A lot of people describe nutty type of aspects. If it's nutty, it's often a little older. It's often been heated more. If it's got more of a light ricey element, like a steamed rice aspect, that's a lighter, earlier harvest, and that is generally a lighter sear aspect of the processing. A little bit of a starchy feel in the mouth, and the texture of that. The aftertaste carries on this cooling aspect, this cooling sweet component to it. So it's how would I say? It's as if you had eaten a jasmine or a Thai type of rice, something that's sweet, something that's a little fragrant, and then you follow that up with a cool kind of sticky rice type dessert dish. So it's lightly starchy, but yet cooling in the back. So it just feels it's quite satisfying. That's what it really comes down to. So, looking at this tea as a whole, I've got to give this tea. I'm gonna take it on up to a 92, just because I think it's got a lot of appealing components. It's got plenty of nuance in the flavor and the aroma. The astringency has really no element of bitterness to it. It's almost just a like I said, a light coating on the mouth. And it's like I said, it stimulates the tongue. It enlivens it, makes it reach out, and becomes more sensitive to that rice type of sweetness, that sticky rice dessert type of sweet aftertaste. It makes you aware of the saliva that's building up, that sweet saliva that's building up because of the aftertaste of the tea. And that's why people, generations ago, before there was any kind of refrigeration and cold drinks, they turned to tea because the aftertaste of a tea actually gave you this cooling, mouth-watering feel when it was a good tea. And that was the solution to refreshment, really, before the advent of our modern sodas and beverages. So, worthwhile. Check it out. Check out any of those other teas that we have that I've reviewed here at Walker Tea Review, and share your thoughts as well.